briefly what all you do here at the church.
Well, I'm involved in sometimes drums playing. I sing, obviously, quite often. I'm involved in Bible studies, more so new people contacting me out of the blue, which is kind of a different ministry. I don't know how the word gets around, but they know that Brother David knows stuff. So they contact me. I give constant Bible studies of numerous people in that sense. I've been involved in Grow class on Wednesdays, which we haven't had in quite a while because of revival, and that's quite all right with me. If the Holy Ghost is moving and we're seeing souls come in, that trumps our Grow classes, and we want the Lord to move. We don't want to hinder that. But anything I can do around here, I've helped do a lot of the building over in the new building, carpentry work, whatever they've needed me to do. I've swept over there. I've cleaned toilets over here, whatever. I'm just a utility man. They need somebody, call them Brother David. I've ministered here a few times in Word, and of course, we have life groups that we have, and I've done several of those, helping out other people as well in theirs. So I'm just a utility guy, a yes man, I guess you'd call it. And when you're a yes man in the kingdom of God, that's what your pastor needs. He doesn't need somebody fighting against him. He wants you to be on his team, and I'm a team member.
Sure. I tell you what, I like what you said there. You said I sing. I play the drums. So you play instruments. You're a singer. Not only are that, I like the part how I clean toilets.
Well, it was fixing toilets.
Fixing toilets. Same difference. It pertains to touching a toilet.
Right.
So if you didn't catch that, what he's saying is the same hand that fits this microphone that we're holding in our hand fits something that pertains to a toilet as well. I like that. I've heard someone else refer to that before.
Well, I saw nobody was taking that job on, and I was like, I'm not too good for that. I'll do that myself.
That's right. And you know, I mean, it's not that bad. It's rewarding to serve in the trenches for sure. So you and I have been to Maryville, Tennessee, to men's conference this past weekend. I know we went. It seems like just last year, but it was actually about a year and a half ago when it was in 21, I believe. Is that right?
We had the year of COVID. It's supposed to be every other year, and the year of COVID got canceled, so we had 2 years in a row.
Okay.
And then skipped a year, and then this year.
Cool. Well, I know I've been there 2 years, and you have always been the person that's kind of got behind that, pushed that issue since I've been back in church as well. And just tell me kind of what your envision behind that is, because I know we go to all other conferences. I've seen you at conferences, but it seems to me that this conference is something that's probably a little bit more special to you.
Well, I've been here long enough to witness the power that comes behind men binding together in unity. And I've seen from the very first men's conference that we had how God moved so mightily in those things. And I saw how we came together in unity and the good time that we men had. Much like life groups and small groups, it helps us to gain friendships and community amongst the brethren that we can't get necessarily in a church service, because when church is over, let's be honest, we're ready to go home, and we can't stand around and talk to just everybody. I mean, we have our personal friends. Some like to call it cliques, but there's no cliques here.
That's not the case.
If you come to our church, you're a part of us. But it's natural for somebody to go to their friend and say, "Man, I want to hang out with you. I want to talk to you about something, and it's funny, and we you make a joke or whatever." Not cliques, but just trying to be a part of the church. And it's harder to do that if you're somebody new and you don't know anybody. You'll have people come up and talk to them, welcome them to church, but to actually have community with them and get involved with them, I found that men's conference is a great way to do that. Bring them on a trip with you. They're riding with you for 6-7 hours, 9 hours in our case, when you have to change tires and stop and eat and go to the bathroom every 20 minutes. But that's a different story. But we have such a good time, men getting together and just being men. No reservations. Just allow yourself to be who you are and no judgment. We have such a fun time. And so over the years, I've decided that, well, right now there's been nobody really pushing it. And I was like, man, we've got to get this going. So the last few years I've been pushing men's conference, and I've tried to have you help me because I'm just trying to push it. And it turns out I'm the one leading it, and unintentionally, I don't have to have a position. I don't care for all that. But when it needs to be done and there's nobody to do it, I'll step in. I'm a utility guy. So
here we are again with hands on.
Yeah. So I see the need, and I'm feeling the need, and I want to see as many men as possible get involved with this, because when you go to men's conference and you're in there with all those other men that have all the same issues, hey, we're flesh and human.
Sure.
I mean, we deal with the same struggles, the same mindsets, the same type of women. Lord help us. No.
Wait a minute now. Don't put me in. Don't get me in trouble.
Wait, can we scratch that? But so we have a lot of the.
My wife's watching. Don't do me that way.
Sorry, Sister Cajun, my bad. But you understand what I'm talking about. We all come from the same place. We come from all different directions and localities and states and cities and country and city folk. But when we come together in one spirit, one mind, and one accord, God moves mightily, and there's such a kinship amongst the brethren, and we bind together. There's power in a praying man.
Oh, yes, and we've seen that so well this weekend.
Yes.
It was awesome.
The effectual, fervent prayer of a righteous man availeth much. So when you get men together praying in unison over our needs and for each other, you can't beat that. It's God anointed, and it's life changing, and that's why I try to get as many as involved as possible.
And it's rewarding for, say, the leader of the group to see the people that you care. I know this year we carried a lot of first timers. We carried a lot of people that are fresh to the church in general, and just to see them start pouring their heart out to God in that setting, in an unfamiliar setting. It was in front of other men, because we're very prideful. Men are prideful, and a lot of times, we find ourselves not wanting to look like the weaker link or so on and so forth. But you don't see that there. It's such just a gentle, peaceful, humble atmosphere when you walk through the door at FAC Maryville, that at men's conference, that not to say it's not there any other time, but it's just something about coming together. It breaks down those walls of, just like you said a while ago, hey, that guy's dealing with the same thing I am. He may live 6 states away from me, but he's dealing with the same spirit that I'm dealing with, or the same problems that my flesh deals with. And, the topic for this year on the panel discussion was one that people are never talk about.
Right.
Like it's probably the topic that no man is going to even bring up unless he's being a dirty-minded person.
Right.
And it was awesome.
Yes.
It was awesome. So
yes.
We had so much revelation throughout this, and it's just been great. It's been really great.
Absolutely. And everything was first class. The building, if you've never been to Maryville and seen Bishop Carpenter's church, the church there, and how they worship, that place is wonderful. And the Spirit of God that you feel is just amazing every time you step in those doors, but especially men's conference.
Absolutely. So great, so great. Brother David, I don't want you to go nowhere. We're going to break for a quick commercial real quick. When we come back, we're going to have some of the other gentlemen that joined us on the trip, and you don't want to miss this. This is going to be great. We'll see you in just a second.
We're going to youth convention in November, and we have. Good morning, everyone. Y'all caught me out here getting ready for our fundraisers. Let me tell you a little bit about this. We're going to youth convention in November, and we're going to do an envelope fundraiser. So you can grab an envelope, put the money in it, return it to us, and that helps pay for our kids' rooms at youth convention. We're also going to have bake sales this morning. A lot of people are making crafts. They're going to be set up downstairs in the Lillian Hall, Wilson dining room after service, so you have plenty of time to shop. So it'll be after service, but please, please go down there and support our youth and everyone going to Youth Convention this year. Thanks so much.
Welcome back to the morning show here with some more special guests of mine. We have Brother Reggie, old Reggie as they call him, Brother Zach Dunlap. He's our production director here at the church, and we are so great to have you all join with us today. You all joined us today, this weekend in Maryville as well, and I think what I want to know from you guys is what's your moment? What took place at men's conference that you can't, we're in revival right now, so we can't take away from that. But it's something about, like Brother David and I have been talking about, that moment of humility, that moment of, God just, he steps in there with a group of men and he does something, and I know you walked away changed. I heard several different testimonies of people saying, man, I left some stuff on that altar at men's conference. There was things that I left there that I haven't been able to leave anywhere without going and picking back up. And there's something in that physical when you're somewhere and you can walk up to the altar and physically give something to God that in your mindset you can't just walk back up there and get it because you're not there. You know what I mean? So talk to me just a moment. Reg, you start off. What was your moment at men's conference that stuck out maybe the most, or what God impacted you the most on?
Well, the word, the preaching. The word goes forth, when you receive it and you feel God coming in and taking what you've given him, and I'm like, Lord, I want to leave here. I don't want to leave here the same, I want to be changed. And he gave me exactly that. The word, when you lose your fear of God, unintentionally. But Brother Chesser, man, he preached. I'm telling you, that was a life-changing word for me, and it was awesome, very awesome.
Brother Chesser, he preached that message pertaining to Lot's life, and I remember here back after her conference, I think it was 2 years ago, he preached a message here that pertained to that, kind of the same thing. I'm not going to say he preached the same message. I don't want to do him that way. But it had a lot of the same stuff in it. We'll give him that one. But he loves me. They throw darts at me at men's conference, so I ought to be able to. I got the mic now, boys. Anyways, but he was talking about, a lot of times we talk about Lot's wife, and we forget to look at Lot's life. And he brought that out so great, bro. And like people, especially men, they should be able to relate to that. You know what I mean? Because we've all been scoundrels at some point in time in our lives. And that was so good. That was so good. I'm glad you caught on to that because I did too. And it's life-changing. It is definitely life-changing. Brother Zach, did you have a moment? I know you did, bro, because I was watching.
I think every message was impacting. A lot of times you go to different conferences or different events, and it may take that first service or something, and then everything kind of amps up after that, but you got to get through that first one. Men's conference, it wasn't that. They Brother Chester hit the ground running with all of the award-winning messages that were preached there, and it was awesome. But I think Brother Chester really laid the foundation. Especially for me, I think the biggest part of it was whenever he was talking about being afraid more of man than afraid of God himself. And so he preached on it. It seemed to be kind of the theme, and then it followed into the following preachers and everybody. There was one of the biggest topics I think that stuck in my head is that the only battle that David lost was the one he wasn't there to fight. And so, a lot of times, and I experienced it because a lot of times we're busy fighting battles that we don't need to be in, so that whenever it actually comes time for the battle we're supposed to be part of, we're too tired or too weary for it. And it hit because here a lot of times I'm running around, and sometimes I might make an excuse for it or get caught up in serving behind the scenes, and so I don't make the time that I need for the altar and worship. But I think that there's just something about all the guys coming together and worshiping together and not waiting for anything. Just, you know what, we're here, we're going to worship God, and, you know, whatever happens, happens.
I might also say,
Go ahead.
On that point, a lot of times some of us that go are nonstop in ministry, and we will burn out. Sure. You can give to a point where you give out, and you've got to go there to replenish and refill, because we're so used to ministering that it can become a rut to where we almost become desensitized to the Spirit of God and the move of the Lord, because we have to keep our mindset on ministry. And so Brother Zach, it benefited him greatly to be there and just not have to worry about doing anything with the video department. Just get there, worship God, dance before the Lord with the rest of the men. Just pour his heart out. But yeah,
it is so good. In fact, I heard him. He actually told me that the first night. He said, "Bro, I kind of felt guilty because I wasn't doing something." And then I realized, hey, I'm not supposed to be doing. I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, and it was so good. But I did see him sneak off to the production room to check it out. I did see him, which is great, because you when you do that, I mean, you go somewhere like this, you should look. It gives you a different perspective. It gives you a different, you know what I mean, a different feel that you can bring back home and maybe implement areas. I know you learned some stuff through that, because I know you well enough to know that you ask questions. And I commend you for that. That's the way you learn. I mean, it's being around other body. You know what I mean? And that is so great. That is so great. We had so many things, so many different quotes, so many different things that was said that was just like, whoa, that is so good. Yes. And it's what is some of you, real quick, let's talk about what's one of the moments that maybe stuck out to you the most, like what somebody might have said.
Well, was it Brother Paul, the fighting men?
Paul McGee, yes.
Yes, Brother Paul McGee, the fighting men, like us in Christ, being in Christ. I look back, and the only fights that I've ever lost was the ones that I didn't show up to. Man, that I'm like, oh my God, Yeah, that was awesome. But then fearing other things more than you fear God. I mean, you don't do it you do it unintentionally, because if you had a choice, somebody say, hey, you choose. But the devil will blind you. We got an enemy there who likes to put blinders up, and you can just be blind for a moment or just lose focus. But, man, I'm telling you, that recharge and rebooting and that renewing and refreshing, it's awesome to feel. And you feel that. I'm like, whew, I've got a new level of power, man. I'm walking tall. And it feels so good, to feel this clean and this good again, You think you can only get to, there's no end to how good you can feel in God. And I love what has happened to all of us. I mean, it was awesome.
Bro, I feel the Holy Ghost in this conversation right now, just what we're talking about.
I'm ready to fight.
I know, I can tell. I'm kind of, don't know if I need to dodge or duck or what. But yeah. I know my moment was like Brother Anthony Wilkes was preaching, and he says, he gets to the point, and he's preaching about kings at war, and he's saying, most men, when they come in, they're like, and people in general for that matter, I know I hear this a lot working in recovery part of the ministry. You don't know where I've been. You don't know what I've done. You don't know the things that I'm capable of. This and that and other. I'm dirty. I'm this. I'm that. His remark was, I don't care what you've done. I know what kind of God I serve. It wasn't exactly that way, but it was along the lines of that. Who cares what you've done or who you've been? I know who God is.
Yes, right.
Man, that was just powerful. And I just thought, you know what? When you know who your God is, it doesn't matter what is happening in that moment for you or the people that you're with, around, so on and so forth. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It takes the fear out of everything when you fear the God that you know. So that was my moment right there. I was just like, whoa. So, Brother David?
I wrote down several quotes.
See that?
There were so many quotes that during the message, I just had to whoa, and I'd turn around and look at somebody. Did you hear that? But, yeah, here's one. It's hard to get in trouble when you are doing what you are supposed to be doing, or if you're where you are supposed to be.
That's good.
You think about that. It's simple but profound.
Yes.
If you're doing what you're supposed to be doing and where you're supposed to be, you're not going to be in trouble. You're not going to cause any trouble.
I think Brother Nate Batson got up and he's like, if you're supposed to be ironing the clothes or you're supposed to be washing it or something, wash them. Be where you're supposed to be. Yeah.
And I had several from Brother Steve Smith. He had ministered a message like this when he was here, the gospel according to Humpty Dumpty. But he told a story, you probably remember this, about a young lady who was a pastor's daughter who, and his message was about when you fall down, a lot of times people try to destroy you. If you're up high, they'll shoot you down, and then they'll kill you when you're down. Right. Like Humpty Dumpty fell, and nobody could put them together. But he said the king, it never said that the king couldn't. Right. So we got a king that can put us together when we fall. Right. But he talked about a young lady who was a pastor's daughter who was, do we need to go to commercial? I'm sorry. Okay, who was a pastor's daughter who got pregnant and was going to have an abortion.
Do you want to go to commercial?
No.
Did you need a moment there or what? I mean,
I was watching your eyes. But this young lady was going to have...
You can't read my face, bro.
It was a pastor's daughter, and she got pregnant, and the Tupelo was not the children's mansion, but they have a help center there.
Yeah, I think he was talking about the New Beginnings.
Yeah, New Beginnings.
Yeah.
Well, they had a place to stay for a while where it wouldn't be so embarrassing for the families when somebody got pregnant. So she went there, but first she went to an abortion clinic and was going to get aborted, the baby get aborted. And she looked at the monitor and she said, "What is that little thing blinking?" And they said, "That's the heartbeat." And she jumped off the table and said, "I can't do this." And thank God went to the other place. And while she's there, where am I at?
Oh, I don't know. You have to tell. All I know is we done jumped off the table.
He made the quote that someone asked the young lady, so what made you decide to get an abortion anyway? Because you're a child of God. You're a pastor's daughter. And she said, I'm going to say it, it's easier to get the forgiveness of God than it is to get the forgiveness of the church.
Wow.
And that just crushed me. It's
yes,
like,
me too.
How many times do we beat somebody when they're down and we see they've messed up? When we've been in that same situation, we can't be hypocritical. When they're down at their lowest points, when we need to lift them up. Sure, they messed up, and it's public. But could you imagine the embarrassment that they were going through? And that's not a time to destroy that person, but to lift them up.
And you know that beat down comes through walking by someone and not acknowledging them a lot of times. That not saying something says more than saying something sometimes to a person that's in that place right there.
Yes.
Oh, man. So good, so good. Brother Zach?
There was a lot inside, I think, the discussion panel on Saturday morning that really impacts a lot of people. And part of that, I think, that impacted me the most was that the men on there took a topic that a lot of people would be worried to talk about, and they talked about it with such like professionalism and grace, and they were able to deliver everything very well, knowledgeable. There's a lot of statistics that they gave that I'm sure helped a whole lot of people that were there, as well as people listening. And I think that listening to I can't remember which speaker it was. But when they talked about how if you have a man that comes up to your door and he's threatening your family, he's threatening your family, comes up there, he's got a gun, he's threatening to harm your family. As a man, what are you going to do? You're going to take care of the situation. You're not going to be like, okay, and just let him in. You're going to stand your ground. You're going to fight, and you're going to defend your family. And there is an enemy at our door. There's an enemy at every doorstep of every home. And it's the man's job to be where he needs to be fed, to be prayed up, to be ready to go to war to protect his family. Not just on a physical level, which is so natural for men, but on a spiritual level as well. We've got to be willing to go to that next step in prayer. And get deeper and deeper and deeper in our walk with God, so that as the warfare comes, as the enemy comes to fight our families and our loved ones and the people that we care about, we're there to fight. We're not where we don't need to be. We're where we need to be, and we're armed, and we're ready for bear, and we're ready to go to war to defend our family.
So good, man. We see so much. We could sit here and probably, because the more you talk, the more things come to your mind. And you could this conversation could go on and on and on. But right now, we're getting ready to break for another commercial. When we come back from this commercial, we're going to talk about some bloopers that took place, Reggie. So I want to know some of your moments, bro. This is your deal. We're getting it tapping into your vein now. So when we come back, we're going to hear for some bloopers, and then we're going to talk about our upcoming tent revival that we have coming this coming weekend. So you don't want to miss it. We'll be right back.
Hey, everybody. I forgot to mention something else we've got going on here. Tonight after service, we're doing a spaghetti dinner. We have spaghetti, chicken spaghetti. You can have green beans, a drink, dessert. It's $5. Now, you cannot beat that. You can't go to the Mexican restaurant and get something for $5. And this is home cooking. So y'all be sure, after church tonight, get you some spaghetti plate. We'll have to-go plates as well, so if you don't want to hang around and eat, that's fine. We'll have it taken care of, and we'll have you to-go plate. Y'all come support us, please. Thanks.
Welcome back. We are so excited, Reg. We had so much fun, bro, on this trip. That ride up there, it should have taken us. The trip to Maryville is about a 6 to 7 hour trip, depending on traffic. It took us 9 hours to get there because we were having so much fun. We would stop at a store and stay at the store for 30 minutes. Yes. I mean, just because we'd be out in the parking lot. One store, I remember we were somewhere in Alabama. We had stopped, and the lady behind the register, she's like, y'all going to have to quieten down. My customers can't even hear in here. Y'all having so much fun over there or something to that line. But that's kind of where it started at, And, man, we had so much fun, so much fun. Tell me something that you enjoyed about the trip, bro.
Well, the store incident was pretty good. But laughing at all the guys, and my goodness, Brother Daniel, and then just everybody, we was having so much fun. It was just, I don't know, my God, where to even start. But
Reggie's a little more reserved this morning than
I was in a whole different, man. I was zoned into God and spiritual things now. And once I'm in, it's hard to get me out.
Nervous as a cat.
Nervous as a cat on a hot tin roof, boy. Y'all see this mic? Yeah. Is my voice quivering? It ain't my voice quivering, it's the mic.
He told me, y'all heard, he's like, so he says, what bloopers? He's like, what bloopers?
What bloopers? Well, I was,
I said the good ones.
Well, there was a lot of them, but Lord, everywhere we went, though, it just, there's no more fun, I'm telling you, than just in God. Man, if you knew how fun church was and God was, I mean, he put the F-U-N in fun. It wouldn't be no fun without him. He's the most exciting thing in my life, Right. He's my excitement in my excitement and my feel-good in my feel-good.
Yeah, there you go.
He just, woo. I mean, oh, Lord. When I got up this morning, I had my mind on church and coming here. Well, not coming here. Sure. This was a shock. I'm like, oh, my God. They want me to be on the morning show? I'm like, I'll be on TV, man. I'm like, oh, no. Don't put me on TV. Yeah. Oh, but anyhow, I love talking about God. That's my favorite subject, and my woman, or women. But I was born a ladies' man, it was just the way it was. God made me that way. I'm glad he wired me that way, hallelujah. I can't remember when I didn't love a woman. I've been loving women ever since I found out I wasn't one, But, my Lord, brother.
Now you're getting a little taste of what
Suey, hog, suey. I'm telling you. That's an awesome thing.
We tapping in, bro.
Yeah,
we tapping
an awesome God. And he's got some awesome people. I'm so glad to be in a part, and this the body of Christ, and that's our brethren and sister, and But man, if you put all of God's boys together, just boys, and boys will be boys. Sure.
Well, Reggie, for somebody that may see this, and you and I are going to relate to what I'm fixing to say. when we live in the world and we live like scoundrels, we live like hoodlums.
Worse.
We think, well, life ends when I go to church. It ends. The fun, all that stuff ends but that's not the case. We had a ball. We have a ball every Sunday here during church. There's not a Sunday that goes by, I promise you, I ain't doubled up. Not making fun, not mocking, not whatever. But spiritually, you're being fed, okay? But you can have fun in that as well. I mean, it's so good. We have so much fun.
Real fun. There's a difference in fun and joy.
Honest fun.
There's a real, and man, when you got a holy, righteous God and you ain't experienced holy fun, it's like holy matrimony, you know. Ooh, ain't no counterfeit, phony baloney, baby. We're talking about the real deal.
The real deal, holy feel.
Ooh, yeah, holy God.
Holy God.
Like, give me some more. You can't get enough. I'm like, but I'm about to explode. If he gives me any more right today, I don't know if I'll stand it. Right. I'll just bloom, pop. Right. I'll just blow up.
So good. Yeah, so good. I done got over here with Reggie and forgot about you two over here for a moment. I know you all had some great laughs as well. You two rode the van with this dude, so I know y'all probably have some stories. Well, we probably don't need to talk about it anymore.
I've laughed till I've cried, I'll tell you
Oh,
what.
me too.
On the way there, we stopped. When you got that many men together, and you got older ones, like me and Brother Reggie.
Keep pointing over there. Don't point at me. Talking about older.
Me and Brother Reggie and maybe a couple others. You know, you have to stop every now and then.
You're in a different decade than I am.
Go to the bathroom. So we had quite a few stops. Then we had to change a tire. They had a big old knot on the thing all the way around. And I kept wondering, why is this thing pulling so bad to the left? And we figured it out. So we had to change that tire. And it looked like a bunch of monkeys trying to pull that tire down.
There were 16 of us went on this trip, and I think all 16 people touched the lug nut at one time.
Yeah, all 16 people change at one time.
Yeah.
I seen 4 guys that couldn't fit under a van get under the van to get the spare tire out from under because nobody knew how to do it.
Yeah,
That's right. That's right.
We got Reggie under there, and he breathed out, and it picked it up a little bit.
He bench pressed.
He belly pressed it. So good. Brother Zach, did you tell us your funny moment? We got to move on for time. But
If all I can say is if you have a chance to go somewhere with the men, especially the men's conference on the van, go for it. You asked for bloopers. I mean, it took us, 9 hours to get there? How many hours to get back?
that's a blooper in itself.
That's about how much bloopers we had. Was pretty much nonstop. Most of it probably shouldn't be shared from here. So, but if you know Reggie at all, you can imagine what kind of trip we had. It was awesome.
So y'all had Reggie and Daniel Barber on the van.
Oh, it was.
So it was never stopped.
Yes.
It never stopped. And when you get them together,
Yes.
oh, it's like father and son.
And there were some windows coming down too.
There were some windows coming down.
Yes, there were some
Oh,
windows
Lord.
coming down.
All that great aroma. So good.
Went from that to an extreme amount of cologne on, just like that.
Yeah. So
We were choked up
Yeah,
one way
I've
or the
still
other.
got cologne taste in my mouth.
Now, can I end us on a good note?
do that.
Okay. All right, at men's conference, when they were closing it out, and Bishop Carpenter was telling us to take what we had here, the worship that we had, people dancing and running the aisles and shouting, and take that home with you. And, I realized that nothing's going to change for us at Bethlehem. We have what most churches do not have. And if you hadn't been around America and around, other churches, you just don't know how blessed this church is. We have a freedom to worship. You will see on any given service. It could be a Wednesday, somebody running the aisles, dancing across the front, rolling on the floor.
We saw
that. We are blessed. I just wanted to say that I wanted to point out that he's telling us to bring it home with you and do that. Be the worship leader at your church, because it's the men that start it, and you don't have that problem here, and I thank God for that.
Yeah, it's so good. I'm glad you brought us to that point, because we're, for the sake of time, we're trying to cram a bunch of stuff in this last moment of memories that we had, but we all have memories that'll last us the rest of our lives. because of these conferences, because of this coming together. I mean, I've been fortunate to be able to go to a lot of stuff with a lot of different people here at the church. And I have so many memories that I will carry forever with me because of, and I'm going to tell you something. There's times when you get down. There's times when you don't feel like coming to church. There's, the devil comes at all of us. It don't matter what position you set in. You can set in the highest position. I'm sure Pastor V would agree to this. There's times that you don't feel like walking out the door. But there's these times that we're talking about that binds you together. Your brother picks you up, carries you on down the road, and it helps you. It gets you to the next point in life. And then guess what? It comes back around the next time you get to help your own other brother come around. But it's been so good, guys, this conversations. The problem with these conversations is we don't have enough time to really talk about everything. And they could go on for hours and hours and hours. We did talk about it for hours and hours and hours in the gas station parking lots. But I'm thrilled that you all were here. Y'all can see Brother Kevin Leslie for your check. He'll make sure you get paid. I'm picking at that. This is on us. Appreciate y'all. Right. So good. But listen, it ain't over. Because we're in revival right here at Bethlehem. We're fixing to be in revival here in just a moment. Our prayer meeting starts at 9:30 this morning, and I'm going to tell you something. For someone that's never been in the prayer room of this church on a revival Sunday or any Sunday in general, you're doing yourself no good by not going there because that's where it starts. That's where it's happening at. Your mindset gets completely transformed when you walk into that prayer room on Sunday morning before you come into the sanctuary. Right. It sets the tone for the revival that's about to happen within your family. Yes. Not just the service, but the family that you're going back to that's so broken, that's so busted. That's where it starts at. And I'm telling you, God honors every bit of that. And it's so great. So 9:30 is prayer meeting. Church starts at 10 o'clock. But guess what's going on this weekend? Men's breakfast, we done missed that, bro. Oh, my bad. Yeah, that's the sacrifice of being on the morning show, Dave. You don't get to go to men's breakfast. You get the leftovers. But leftovers are good, though, because I know those men cooked it up. So there it is. But anyways, guess this weekend we have our annual tent revival that's coming up in Potts Camp. Bro, it's going to be great. We have Evangelist Robin Johnson coming back. He hasn't been here in a few years, and maybe since the last tent revival. I think so. He preached the very first tent revival. And I think that was in 20 or 21, maybe. It was in 20. Anyways, he's going to be back with us. This is going to be September the 23rd, 24th, and 25th. That's a Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. We're doing it just a little bit different this year. We normally would do Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But it's going to be great. I'm telling you, you don't want to miss it. That's going to be in Potts Camp, right beside the Dollar General, at my mom and dad's shop. So we need all the help. There's cards laying up here by the offering plates on the platform. We need you. If you're here, get them. Spread the word. Share. Go like and share this feed. Go like and share the church feeds about the upcoming stuff that we got going on. So great. I can't hardly wait. Listen, we're going to have a pre-service show there. It's going to be so fun. It's going to be we was talking about it the other day, the way we're going to set it up. I mean, it's going to be good. It's going to be good. So, anyways, we thank you all for joining us this morning. Give our guests a shout out. Let them know what you think about them. Let them know how much you love them. Don't forget to go like and share this. We appreciate every one of you. We cannot wait to see you in church this morning. We love you all.